It's been a while since we've checked in to see how things are going in California. How about on the campus of UC Berkeley? Let's take a look.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Can a child consent to playing soccer outside with his buddies? Sure. Can he consent to having sex with an adult? Absolutely not.
So,
But you got all these minor attracted people who want to lower the age of consent for everything and just basically give kids agency for everything in their lives and take away parental control completely.
that's my
totally
stance.
Insane.
My stance. There we go.
Oh, okay.
My stance is I want to decouple age and consent. I think the two have no bearing with each other.
So do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to sex with an adult?
Here's what I think. I think that different people mature at different rates. Everyone would agree with that.
Let's ask that question again, though.
Okay.
If I may.
Absolutely.
Do you think a 12-year-old, do you think any 12-year-old can consent to sex with an adult?
It doesn't sound good, but a mature adult that understands the concept of consent. Why should we limit someone by their age?
Wow, that's doesn't sound good. At least he concedes that much. Might want to report that gentleman to the authorities, and I use gentleman loosely. That video is courtesy of Chris Elston. The kids know him as Billboard Chris, and he was out there doing what he does, standing there and striking up conversations with people who, well, disagree on issues like transgender ideology and activism and apparently sex with minors. Chris, thanks for joining us. I don't know how you keep your composure sometimes, but that was quite a moment.
Yeah, it gets worse than that. He went on to talk about how there are exceptional 12-year-olds who can understand this. And this is just part of a bigger movement that really sprung out of academia. It's part of queer theory. And we even have several university professors advocating for exactly what he's talking about. People like James Cantor out of the University of Toronto, who says that the P for pedophilia should be included with the LGBTQ, because to do otherwise would be to betray the principles that gave gay people their rights.
Wow. We've come a long way from just bake them the cake and they just want their privacy and the government out of their lives. And I don't know how we got here from there, but it sure happened lightning fast, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm out on the campus of UC Berkeley. This man knows he's getting filmed. He knows this is going to go online. And he still is just freely expressing these opinions and admitting that he's a pedophile. So it's pretty outrageous. That video went viral. And I was on the campus of UC Berkeley for about 3 days having conversations with students. And overall, I'd say it was actually much more positive than many people would think, because that campus is known as perhaps being the most progressive, or what we should really call it is the most illiberal one now in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And of course, I got some hate, but I had a lot of great conversations, and thousands more were started all over campus. And I've been probably to 30 different universities now. And the message definitely is spreading. We're getting the truth out there about the specific message that I bring, which is that we shouldn't be trying to change the sex of children.
I feel like that's the case too. And I think that a big part of the message right now are the brave individuals now known as detransitioners. These are the people who have been sold this bill of goods to go down the puberty blocking and hormone therapy, and in some cases actual surgical procedure route, and then they recognize, oh my gosh, this is irreversible. In fact, you had an exchange with another student, I'm assuming it's a student, about detransitioners. Let's see a little bit of this. I might cut it off because it's, you know, I don't want to lose any brain cells watching it, but let's watch that.
Like, why do you feel like, you know, like this is
about
how
medical
the world
abuse.
is ordered in my Eurocentric infrastructure, and I must then go out to others and say that this is wrong. I don't believe that you should be doing this to our kids, when in actuality they're not your kids, and you don't know these people, and you don't know their stories, and you don't know how they feel. Like,
Oh, I know a lot of these people, and I know a lot of their stories.
I don't think
But you don't know me, and you don't know what I've been doing for 2.5 years.
I mean, like, I don't know.
How many detransitioner stories have you read?
Detransitions. That's
How's it going?
That's what I'm saying, dog.
Y'all need to leave.
You seem to be having a nice night. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, this delightful young woman then comes in, and I was hoping to get the answer there, because some of the like buzz phrases that you hear there, some of the, you know, from your Eurocentric perspective, what you have to have an advanced degree to actually make this nonsense make sense to you. But is this really a cultural thing? Like, oh, we people who find our roots in Western civilization and Western Europe, we might shy away from having sex with children and changing their gender. But, you know, in other cultures, it's just fine. Are we really at that place now, Chris?
These kids are getting so indoctrinated in these universities. Apparently, they think everything bad in the world comes from white men, and it's all according to my Eurocentric view that has me believing that we shouldn't be sterilizing children. Yet just the night before, I was talking to this wonderful man from Morocco who says this isn't an issue at all there. I was speaking to another man right before that from Mongolia who thinks he made a mistake by coming to UC Berkeley. Because in these other cultures that are outside of the so-called Eurocentric infrastructure, none of this madness is going on.
But Chris, see, here's the problem. Someone who agrees with you would never get tenure at Berkeley, right? I mean, the professors amplify this, and the students figure it out pretty quickly that if you want to get good grades, you want to move on, you want to progress, you've got to echo what you're hearing from the prof.
Yeah, and I think 99% of the professors in these universities are, well, they call themselves liberal, and again, everything in this world is upside down. They're the most illiberal of all. There's one instructor actually from Brown University who even just came out to a protest with me one day at Boston Children's Hospital, just stood there. Some people saw her picture in the media, and Brown University wasn't able to fire her, but they responded by putting another adult in every single classroom she teaches just to monitor her, essentially trying to pressure her out of the university.
Wow.
It's a total disgrace.
It is a disgrace, and by the way, I want to emphasize the courage of young people who have stepped forward and said, no, this was a disaster for my life, and there's another side of this transgender mania. They don't need an adult in the room to monitor speech and conversations. They're ready to confront this head on. If you want to support what Chris is doing, by the way, billboardchris.com is where you can follow everything he's doing, but also support his efforts. I do love the fact that you often will write about or use your social media platform to express hope, that you are changing your minds, that you are having constructive conversations. Share a little bit more, especially since you just were in California, where a lot of people sort of shrug away and think California is a lost cause.
Yeah, so I would say when I'm able to have any sort of nuanced conversation at all, more than 90% of the population from all walks of life, Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter, they agree with this message, but people have been sold a lie. And the left has been very successful in pushing this ideology upon all of our society because they have hundreds of millions of dollars behind them. They have every global and national and human rights organization pushing this lie that we have a gender identity that supersedes our biological sex. But we have the truth on our side. And when you can speak the truth calmly and have conversations with people, the truth spreads for free.
Yeah.
And we have 19 states now in the United States which are pushing legislation to put an end to this practice.
That's great, and that is incredibly hopeful, and all of those legislators need support. Just a minute left here, but the reaction you get sometimes from the other side of the spectrum, it's almost fanatical. It is so emotional, it's so overwrought, it's like they're religious zealots sometimes, if I may.
Absolutely. I say this is a cult. This has all of the hallmarks of a cult. The detransitioners get cut off. They get treated like they're terrible people when they leave this cult. And if this was really about trying to find your true inner self and being who you really are, why aren't these people also celebrating the detransitioners when they find out that they really are their biological sex? They're only celebrating them when they're trans, because that's the whole movement here, is to try to change the sex or gender of children.
Yeah. Good question. Why don't they give the support? And I think that we know the answer to that. Chris Elston, he started this whole thing just as a concerned dad about his own children, and well, he's doing a lot for all of us dads out there who have the same concerns. Keep it up, Chris. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.